Hello, my comic collecting pals. Welcome to another episode of Sidebar. Now, here's the thing. On Tuesday night this week, I was supposed to be making an appearance on Nate's show, Nate from Whole Yeah Comics, but unfortunately, Nate wasn't well. I had to cancel the recording, but it's a real shame. Hopefully, we can do it at a later date. But the main thing is hopefully Nate's feeling a bit better by now. Now, last week, I said I wasn't going to buy no comics in March. How did I get on? Pretty good, actually. I haven't bought any comics so far in March. Now, granted, it's only day 6. There's a long way to go. But I think the main thing is I was still able to sit and browse the usual sites that I browse and look at eBay. And I did see things I would normally pick up, but I didn't. I didn't push the button. And that's cool because that gave me time to do some sorting out. Now, in the course of sorting out, one of the drawers in my desk here has got quite a few stickers in it, and these are bits of swag and merch that lovely guys that have got YouTube channels, when they've kindly sent me stuff, they've included stickers and such, and they're really cool. So it's kind of like, well, I'm not going to throw them away because they're really cool. And at the same time, it's like, I'm 57. What am I going to do with stickers? What have I got I can put stickers on? This week I sorted that. This is my Mr. McGroovy notebook, my little black book in which I make notes for episodes like this and more importantly, People with Issues episodes. So that is now festooned with stickers from some of the finest comic YouTubers in the land. So thank you guys for those. I really love this, actually. I think it's very, very cool now. I like this. I'm very fond of my little black book, and it's now even better. It's got this swag on it. So that was cool. Now, stuff has still been coming in, even though I haven't been buying stuff. And I've been doing more reading while I've been organising. So I've made a little bit more space, changed the height of some of these shelves here, which meant taking all of the comic books out, adjusting the shelves, putting all the comic books back, a little bit of reorganisation and what goes where, and a bit more room for riffling, which is pretty good because it was a bit tight previously. So very happy with that. Been doing a lot more reading. So this week I'm going to do a bit of a mixed bag of stuff that has been incoming and stuff that I've been reading as well. And a bit of a Grail. So first up, I'd mentioned, I think last week, that I had a second giveaway win from the lovely Peter at Triple G Comics. And I asked for either of these comics. Typically, Peter sent me both of them. The first one is Justice League of America, what number is that? 62. And that is from 1968, courtesy of Gardner Fox on writing details, and the art by Sikowski and Roussos. I don't know which bits Sikowski did and which bits Roussos did. All I'm going to say is there are pages in here where I thought, wow, that art's really good. And pages where I thought, that art's really not very good. I wouldn't like to say who was who. I'm sure you DC aficionados will have your own opinions. It's a great cover. So it's got a low grade one, this, but it's a great cover. POV cover. Do we know anyone who likes POV covers? I think I do. Panic from a blackmail box. And it's one of these funny 60s tales where the Justice League go up against a couple of kind of nutty gangs of not so much power, super-powered people as people with odd gadgets and effects and things to sort out a tale that relates to blackmail. And it's, I think, like the Avengers in the 60s as well, these things where you've got these like hugely powerful teams. It doesn't matter how many people are in the team or how powerful they are. And these issues are always seems to be like the bad guys find a very, very simple way to like knock them all out in one go. But they work out how to obviously recover and rectify the situation. So that was really enjoyable. I just picked that because it's like old. an old copy. It's very charming. It's quite alarming how much Batman smiled throughout this. Again, I don't know whether that was Sikowski or Roussos responsible for that. But really good fun. So that was great. The other book I got from Peter is this Gold Key Mickey Mouse. Typically with Gold Key, I don't know what issue number it is. I could look on the inside and it might tell me, but it doesn't really matter. This is from 1966, and neither do they tell you who kind of did what on it. But again, I'm sure there will be Gold Key aficionados out there who will be pointing at that going, oh, that's Bob Smith or Sally Smith or whoever. Anyway, this was a hoot. And I have to say, for 12 cents? Wow, man, if you pick this up as a kid, what a lot of reading in it. So you get the big main story, which is about this lost silver mine that the gang here try and go and find, and they encounter two bad guys who pretend to be conquistador ghosts and exploit the local Native American population into making jewellery from this mine, which they sell to make money. But of course, the Disney gang sort all that out. So it's quite a long story. It's pretty cool. But there's loads and loads of other little one-page stories. Mickey Mouse, Mickey and Goofy. There's what Huey, Dewey, and Louie encounter Daisy Duck's. It must be her nieces, April, May, and June. No, I'd never heard of April, May, and June in Mickey Mouse comics or cartoons before, so that was a new one on me. This was a hoot. I really enjoyed this. I had fun sitting reading this. So very cool. I'm glad I chose that. So thank you, Peter. Awesome books. Hopefully you saw last week's episode of People with Issues with the lovely Brittany from Comic Showcase, and she thoroughly recommended Profane, and I picked up all 5 issues for quite a good price. Can't remember what the price was, but it's like less than £10. Quite a bit less than that, I think, actually. So maybe £1.50 a copy. Really nice condition. She quite sold me on that. If you're not familiar with it, get back and watch the episode and listen to Brittany explain it. She'll do a better job of it than I will. However, a quick recap. This chap here, who is Profane by name, he's a fictional detective in a series of detective novels. And he transfers from the fictional world to the real world to investigate the death of the author of his books, which is a great idea. Fantastic. And throughout this, there's lots of sort of detective-y type things, but it's quite fun as well. I actually read this pretty much in one sitting, which is, I think, unusual actually for me, but I was enjoying it that much. Now, there's great humour in this as well. There's points where he finds himself, he's in the real world. So, for example, he gets tangled up with a cap, and he has to explain to the cap who he is and where he's from. So he's like, oh, what the hell? He just tells her, I'm a fictional character from another. And she's like, oh yeah, ficties. Yeah, I've met loads of those. It happens all the time kind of thing. It's like, what? Which I really like. It's really funny, really quirky. I'm sure that happened with someone else in it as well. So this was a really good read. The art's a modern style of art, which isn't kind of my thing, but it's very good. It suits the story and everything. It's really well written and flows along. Really good characters in it as well. So, Brittany, thank you very much for the recommendation for that. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't think I'm likely to be keeping these. I'll check back and see what I paid for them, and then I'll put them in my sale box, and I'll probably sell them for a couple of pounds cheaper than I paid for them. So if I paid a few pounds to read it, that's a deal. That's a great deal. And then pass them on to someone else for quite a cheap price, which I think is a good thing to do. Yeah, and aren't they modern as well? See, modern books. I know when I say modern, it can tend to just mean like after 1985 or something like that. But, they're properly recent. If you think they were properly recent, how about this? I picked up Spider-Man Noir, May I know. But again, they were sort of, sold as a set of 5 in really nice condition and pretty inexpensive as well. So I'll probably end up doing the same thing I did. I'm going to do with the Profane ones, and just sell them for a little bit less than I paid for them, and then I've paid a couple of quid to read them, which is cool. I really enjoyed this. It's weird, but I really enjoyed it. If you're one of the 3 people that aren't familiar with this, because I know everyone else will be, it's just me who's continually playing catch up. It's set in, I think, 1939. Peter Parker is a private detective. Aunt May and Mary Jane, with whom he has split up, know that he's Spider-Man. And yeah, he goes up against sort of a kind of Nazi gang, basically. And the surprising thing for me is when I opened this, the first thing I saw was like, well, Eric Larson's written this. And I'm assuming that's the same Eric Larson who used to draw Thor and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, he's on writing detail. Meanwhile, was it Bricardo and Rosenberg fill out the rest of the duties, which were no doubt art and stuff. So, yeah, it was really sort of good fun, and it fairly ramped along, and it was a good read. And that's about all you can ask for from, comics, or the sort of basic you can ask for from comics. Nice and colourful. I'm not sure why Spider-Man Noir, right? So he dresses in a dark costume, and typical with heroes of the age, is a long coat and a hat and stuff like that, which is cool. Aside from that, it's not really noir-y. Now, he does narrate some of it, so there's captions narrating some of the stuff, but it's not done in like if you imagined Humphrey Bogart's voice or something like that, you don't really get that. He does all the things a spider can. No, he does all the things Spider-Man typically does, powers-wise. And he's like early Spider-Man. He chats constantly, makes jokes, he really irritates the bad guys. So I'm not really sure, given it's not got a noir-y feel to it, and he doesn't act like a darker character, I'm not really sure why they went down the noir route and just didn't make it Spider-Man 1939. So yeah, it involves Gwen Stacy, who's a client of his, and her father, and stuff like that, which is probably all you need to know because everyone will have read it except me. So yeah, really enjoyed that. I thought it was good. No grumbles about the price I got these for, and I'll be happy to pass them on to somebody else. So cool. What I'll come on to next is the comic that my friend Lee picked up for me in the States, the Atlas edition. And that is Strange Stories of Suspense, number 11. And that is from 1956. It's probably about a 4.0, this. Familton, Bailey, and Marisi responsible for this. So not names I'm that familiar with. Now, I was watching this for quite a while on eBay, and my big thing was it wasn't that expensive. The seller didn't really have anything else I wanted, so it was that kind of like, is it worth spending the shipping on that? And that's why Lee picked it up for me to put together with other stuff. But I kept going back to it just because the cover's so good. It's this beautiful black cover, this lurid green writing in the title, and that red background as we stare out from the vault. And check this guy out. I mean, doesn't that look like Steve Martin? I can't not see that now. That just looks like Steve Martin. What was in the vault? Hopefully a ukulele. Who knows? So the inside of it's in pretty good nick. Look at that. But it's just, I think, a splendid addition to my Atlas collection, which still less than a dozen books, but I've got them all up on my gallery at the moment, which is out of sight from you. And having them all out next to each other just looks splendid. I might have to arrange see if I can get them all in a decent picture so you can have a look at them. They just fill me with joy. Next up, the Grail. Now, I was right. It's Wings 52. Ta-da! Now, a little while ago, I did a piece on this, and I showed 2 copies. So for quite a while, I've only been able to see 2 copies of this on eBay. One is this very, very low-grade copy. The other one is a slabbed copy. I think it's about 7.5. And on a previous video, I kind of showed them side by side, because the issue I had was this one was about it's about $20, $25, something like that. The other one was about maybe $400, slab 7.5. When I showed them side by side, you could see that in this old copy, the orange in the airplane and the title is quite deep. And in the slabbed copy, it really looked quite faded. It looked quite yellow. So I reached out to the seller and asked if he had any more photos taken in natural light, just in case it was like a lamp or something that was making it look more yellow. And the seller, to be fair to them, said, "Oh, look, in my opinion, it does have some colour fading, but not much." And he sent me some other photos which are clearly different, but it's too faded. I don't want it. Now it had because I had this, I could see the slab, I could see the certification number. So I had a look on CGC's site, and that is, it looks like the book was slabbed over 10 years ago. There's no scans of it, unfortunately. And it kind of makes me wonder, it's like, so was it that faded when it was slabbed and that was taken into account for the grade it was given? Or did the fading occur afterwards? And therefore, if it was regraded now, would it still be a 7.5? Now, I don't care that much about 6.5, 7.5, it doesn't really matter. But would you want to pay for a price for a graded slab if it's not really at that grade? I don't know. But what matters to me is I don't want a book that kind of looks like that, that's got that much fading. Now, in looking around at what else has been sold, issues of this comic, it sort of struck me, it's like, in all likelihood, I'm going to end up with a slabbed copy of this book. The reason this is a Grail for me is that this issue contains Gene Colan's first professional work in comics. If I have a slabbed copy, which would be lovely because it's an awesome book, isn't it? I wouldn't be able to see the page. So I thought, well, do you know what? For now, I might as well pick this up. This is as cheap as I'm going to get a copy because it's in such poor condition. So, so that's why I got this. Now, it also, let me see, it's from 1944. It also contains Matt Baker and Lee Elias work. And while I wasn't able to establish it before doing this recording, I think that from what I've seen from other Wings comics, and I have the next issue of this, that's likely a Matt Baker cover, but it's not really why I bought this, so I'm not kind of too concerned about it. What did surprise me, I was kind of like, my only hope is that the actual page or pages with Gene Colan's work are okay, that they're there, that they're intact. Now, this book, you probably maybe see across the top, it's smoke, fire damaged. On the back, it's been held together by tape. I suspect that tape might actually be older than I am. When you open the front cover and I'm not going to show you, when you open the front cover and have a look, there's not a lot of spine there. So when I saw this online, I sent a link to Jason, Archivist Adrift, and said, "Do you think you'd be able to do anything with this?" And he said,
"I guess you could, I don't know, line a bird cage with it."
Thanks a lot, Jason. He didn't really say that. He was very helpful, but I digress. I was really surprised when I received it, given the condition of the outside. The pages, everything's there. None of the panels are affected by any of the damage, and the colours in the interior, really good. So everything is in there. There's a lot of dames in red dresses in this book. So we've got great stories like Grease Monkey Griffin, classic. And what else have we got here? How about Skull Squad? It's terrific. I really enjoyed having a look through this. But the all-important page... That's a young lady getting undressed. You don't want to see that. Is right here. This Wingtips pin-up. That is Gene Colan's first professional work in comics. And just down towards the centre of the book in the corner is his signature. So this is a, P-51B Mustang? Wingtips. I'm really delighted to have this. I'm really surprised by the interior and the quality of the pages. To the point where I've kind of thought, right, so if that's a placeholder until I get like a really nice slabbed copy, do I really want a slabbed copy? Because now I've had that for the best part of a week, and I don't feel like I'm missing another copy of it. I think, so if I had the slab copy, obviously I wouldn't be able to see the Gene Colan page inside it, and that's what that's for. And that's in really good condition, that page. Maybe I'd have been content just with that page. I don't know. But I suppose what it does mean is I'll keep an eye out for slabbed copies of Wings. I know my good friend Robbie is scouring the planet for copies of this book for me, because he's a good soul. That's what he does, and he knows his stuff. But I can afford to be really picky. So if options to get them do come up, I can be really picky about the price, because I'm really happy with that one, even though the outside of it's kind of knackered and falling apart. So yeah, to an extent, so I'm kind of like, is it a Grail achieved, or is having a nice copy of it the Grail? At the moment, I'm feeling like that's it. That's it. That's done. So yeah, what would you do? The other week, I mentioned a bit of a tip on international shipping. I think particularly overseas to the UK. I don't know about other countries, but I said never, ever, ever, ever pay extra for expedited or priority shipping, because you have absolutely no control over how long customs will hang on to something when it gets to the UK. Case in point, from the moment Carl gave this to USPS, it took 3 days for it to leave the United States and get to London, which is the other end of the United Kingdom from where I am. And that's with adverse weather conditions in the States as well, because previously a couple of boxes I've had from Carl was remarkably arrived in 4 days, which is awesome. This one, it took 3 days to get to London. Customs held on to it for 5 days. I don't know what they were doing. Reading the comics? I don't know. And then once they release it, it only takes a day. You can pretty much deliver anything anywhere in the UK within a day, except some very extreme locations. So yeah, 4 days to get from Carl to me, barring the 5 days in the middle. Customs sat, I don't know if they sat around it and played cards on top of the box, because it's a big box. I don't know what they did. Anyway, point made. On to the books. I can't, when Carl's doing a Whatnot show, I can't partake in the giveaways because they're restricted to the US. Carl very kindly chucked some stuff in for me. He said he was going to do this. So I've got a Boris Karloff, Tales of Mystery, one of these gold key things. So again, it doesn't tell you what number it is when you enter. So that is really cool. Thank you, Carl. It was very kind. It's very nice of him to think of things like that. That's the kind of guy he is. So moving on to what I bought, we'll have a look at the raw books first. I picked up Marvel Super Action 2 and 3 for the princely sum of, I think it was around $8. Still got everything's listed on the email that I got. $8. I didn't have any copies of that, so I was pretty pleased to get those. So, yeah, a pair of those for $8. I can almost hear Sean from Basement Comics saying, could have got 2 copies of Venom, Carnage, Spider, Mary Jane versus Aliens for that. Anyway, next up, Superboy number 141. No Mercy for a Hero. I'm reading this back to front on the screen, so I hope I'm reading it correctly. So I've not had a proper look at these yet because they've just arrived. But if I show you them now, get them into this week's recording, then I can read them and put them away. My Greatest Adventure. 10 cent. Look at that. I was king of the sea beasts. Get these little mad orange dudes with the speak. That's quite grisly, that. That is number 47. I'm not exactly sure yet when that's from, but it'll be going into Mylar and getting a little label on the back with all the key information, because that's how I roll. I picked up a Dazzler number 1. I'm not sure why I picked that up. I sort of see it a lot and I keep going, do I like it? I do like it. It's a painted cover and it's kind of early 80s, I think. Yeah, no, I like that. I'm quite pleased with that. That's pretty cool. And a Strange Tales 139. The Brave Die Hard. Isn't that cool? Doctor Strange and Nick Fury 12-cent action. I am looking forward to getting into that. It's a lower grade copy, but everything Carl sells is priced appropriately. Onto the main book, Why I Was There. So again, Carl's looking after some of Jeff from Comic Spa's Avengers collection, and I've already had a couple of those, couple of slabs. And I saw another one. I was like, oh yes, at that price, I want that. And this is a good thing. Carl has stuff listed in the shop. I like it when whatnot sellers do that. You can go and have a look beforehand, especially if you have to think about international postage. It's like, well, I know I can buy that. If they put it up for auction starting at, a price, sometimes they'll say, oh, what should we start this at? You can mess around with it. But it's kind of like, well, I know I can push the button and buy that, and then just look for these other raw books that come up to fill out the postage, things that I want to, like the look of, want to pick up. This time, I've picked up another one of Jeff's Avengers, and I've gone for Avengers 63. Isn't that a stunning Gene Colan cover? Of course, it's Gene Colan. That's why I bought it. Gene Colan, aided by George Klein. So yeah, Avengers 63 from 1969. Hawkeye becomes the new Goliath. Black Widow, Mad Thinker, Egghead, and the Puppet Master appear. It's probably everything you need to know about that. It says white pages. Who the hell knows? It's in a slab. So is it a 7.0? It's got a little tear at the back, which, it's from like 1969. It's not bad at all, is it? But it's and in this corner, Goliath is such a stunning cover. I really, really love that. And I think as well for this one as well, that the white on the cover is really white, whatever the hell the pages are like, who knows. It is littered with Newton rings, which is a real slab thing. They are just not fit for purpose, these things. But delighted with that, and really glad to have another piece of Jeff's collection in my collection. Jeff actually messaged me, he wasn't at the show, but he heard about this and he messaged me and said, when I decided to sell my Avengers collection, I should have just contacted you. I was like, would that I could take more of them. But I think that one I'm absolutely happy to pick up. Stunning. The not buying thing's been great because I have spent more time doing a bit of organising and reading more stuff and picking out what I want to kind of, talk about a bit more. It's only the odd thing I kind of put away without really wanting to talk about it because I don't think there's any value in it. So let me know what you think of those things. But what else is coming up? So, right, coming up this week on People with Issues, it's a bit of a different one this week because for the first time I'll be talking to two guests at the same time. They are the amazing Ruby and Darren from Daddy Daughter Comics. If you're not familiar with their channel, I hope you enjoy the episode and then get over there to have a look at their content, or have a look at their content first. If you are familiar with them, you can probably know what I'm talking about, and I hope you enjoy it. It was a hell of a lot of fun to do. Different format from usual for reasons I'll explain in the video. So I hope you tune into that and enjoy it. I want to thank you for tuning into this. I hope you enjoyed this. Please do leave me a comment to let me know about the stuff I've picked up and what you think. And until next time, stay groovy.